Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Well, today's another very exciting day because finally we are going to get our new 737-700 home to San Diego. Yep, we're flying direct from San Francisco to San Diego. We will get her ready to put into service for Jet In Airways. It's been a three-stage process getting this baby home. As you know, when we left Renton on my previous videos, we had big trouble with it, so we had to land in Portland. And then we went from Portland to San Francisco. We've picked up a few team members. We have some cabin crew with us today and some couple of pilots who need a ride back to San Diego. So today is the day we arrive at our home base, and it's going to be exciting. We got a big party planned. We got a big special feast, some food, some drinks, and some people. A lot of people in the team are meeting us at head office, and I'm going to be showing you through head office at San Diego for Jet In Airways. Okay, our home base. But this video is going to be in two parts. The first part, I'm going to show you how a dummy, an amateur like me, manages to start up a study level 737, set up the FMC, and then fly from A to B without a hitch. And I know I've had a lot of trouble getting to this stage. So I know I'm probably not the only one. There's probably a lot of others out there having the same difficulties as me or others. So this is a real basic, it's not a real tutorial. I'm just showing you how a basic non-skilled, non-pilot amateur gets this baby started up and running from A to B. That's it. If you want more depth in the systems and the procedures, then you'll have to go away and do your own research and study, okay? But this is just very simple, basic setup and flying from A to B. Okay, so any helpful suggestions, as usual, are welcome in the comments. So what we're going to do is I'm really going to start from the beginning, okay? We're going from San Francisco to San Diego. So what I'll be on here, departure, I'm going to put Ksfo, San Francisco International, as departure. And arrival, I'm going to put San Diego. San Diego, way down here as arrival. Now I know what you're thinking, guys. You're thinking you can't do the planning on the game menu for the PDMG study level plane. It doesn't work. Well, there is a way. If you do this, there is a way and there is a time when this makes it actually easy for you. You have to do the right processes in the FMC, of course, but I do it this way at the beginning. Maybe later you'll see how it becomes useful and how you can actually use it, okay? So up here we're at Ksfo. We've got to come into this anyway because we've got to put our plane in the right place at the airport, okay? I want to take off at this end of the runway, so I'm flying directly towards San Diego. So I'm going to click on that end of the runway as departure. Again, I know nothing about correct procedures, okay? So don't abuse me. Now, come down here. Now we've got to park at the gate somewhere. I'm going to park at a gate that makes it really easy to get to the runway, okay? If we choose gate 84, parking 84, we've got a little wee trip out and we're on the runway already. So let's choose gate 84 as departure. Okay. There we go. Now, as far as waypoints go, I've got a couple of waypoints sorted out. We'll work on that. We'll work on that soon when we do the FMC. But there's our basic flight plan there. Okay, I'm going to choose low altitude airways. And ILS 09Y, okay? ILS 09Y for our arrival. Now there'll be some waypoints placed in there for us. We can copy these waypoints into our FMC when we do our planning. So there we go. That's a straight in approach, and then we're right onto the glide slope. So that is nice and easy. Now if we have a look up here at our waypoints, I'm really only interested in the last few, okay, because it's only the last few waypoints that are going to get us set up for our ILS approach. All the other waypoints we don't need, because we're just going to go direct to here. Going to go direct to our first waypoints, and then we're going to land. The waypoints I'm interested in is Albas, which is up here. Where are we? Albas. So when I hit Albas, I know I want to get down close to around 4,000 or 5,000 feet, because when I get closer to my final approach, I want to be at 3,000 feet. Then when I hit the glide slope, I want to be at 2,500 feet. Okay, so I put Albas in this waypoint basically as a reference, so that I know that I should be down around 4,000 or 5,000 feet. Okay, if I'm still at 10,000 feet when I hit Albas, I know I'm in trouble. Okay, so that's what that waypoint is there. So I've written that one down on the paper beside me. Ksfo is another one that I want. Where is Ksfo? I think it's up here somewhere. It doesn't show up, but it is up here somewhere. Ksfo, and then it's straight into there. Okay, so now we've done that, we're going to choose our plane. 737-700, the passenger. Liveries, I'm going with the PMDG house colors, because that's what we've got at the moment. And this plane is for Jet and Airways. So I've got that. We're going to set the time. I want the morning. I want to see some lovely scenery on the way down. We don't want night time. We don't want evening, otherwise it'll be dark for most of the trip. So I'll put it about there. Let's have clear skies. That will look beautiful. Right. Okay. So now we can head down to the airport at San Francisco and get our plane ready for departure. Well, here we are, guys, at San Francisco International. We are at the beautiful San Francisco Bay, and look at that. What a beautiful clear day. What a perfect day to be heading down to home base to meet all our team and have a big celebration on the arrival of our new 737-700. What a perfect day. So here we are at the gate. The plane is looking amazing, just beautiful. So yeah, let's head up onto the flight deck and start getting things all set up, shall we? Okay, a couple of things I want to say. One is that you need to have your assignments done properly. I've spent hours on this, getting my assignments set up, so I've just got to push a button and I'm in the right place. The important ones are your master control panel there, where you do your autopilot, hit it again, and go back to your main cockpit view. The second most important one is, my opinion, is your overhead. You go to the irregular, so that's got to be your next most important button for the assignment. And of course the next one is your throttle assignment, where you can see your flaps and your trim and your brake and all those kind of things. So you want to have that done as well. Now the next one, of course, is you've got to be able to zoom in to your things here. If you're an old bugger like me, you want to zoom in really close to see what the details are there. If your eyes are not so good, you've got to have a good button assigned to that. And the other one is your, where is it? I've lost it already. Okay, the FMC, you need to have that one sorted as well. And then it takes a bit of practice to be able to quickly go in an instant to the view that you want to go to. You've got to have those set up really good. Okay. Now the other thing you need to do, I think you need to do, if you're going to fly a study level aeroplane, is get to know where all the buttons are. Get to know what every button and lever and switch does off by heart, so you don't have these big labels coming up. Every time you put your mouse on the thing, a big label comes up and you can't even see the switch, you can't even see the button, because you've got this big label coming up telling you this is the power button. Okay, so you've got to get rid of those, turn those off, which means you need to know all these switches, what they are, off by heart, okay? You've got to be able to know where that one is. Your damper, you've got to know exactly where it is. Go straight to it and turn it on. So you should know what all of these buttons do, including the ones at the top here. And you need to be able to go to them in a second or in a split second. So you need to, when it is required, okay? You've got to be competent and confident at going to your buttons. So that is a day's or a week's work in itself. Learning where everything is and knowing it without all the labels on. Okay, so this basic startup, let's get going. Now in the Ksfo 737-800 we have the iPad here, we have the screen, and a lot of the study level planes have the screen. Maybe the 737-700 didn't come out with a screen here, and if it didn't come out with a screen, well, that's fine. I don't want a screen there. Maybe later they will put one there, but if this is the original, the way it is originally, well, I'm happy because I like things original. Okay, now everything that you will do on the little iPad or the screen there, you can actually do on the FMC. Okay, and that's where we're going to go and get into today, very basically, I must say. Okay, so we're going to come up here. First thing we need to do is to check all our switches and buttons where they should be, ready for our startup procedure. Default, when I load this screen, that is where the buttons are sitting. So take a screenshot of that if you like, or jot it down, or take a photo on your phone. But when I load this plane, that is where all the switches sit. And since it's been working perfectly fine for me, I'm not going to change it, okay, at this stage. Maybe later when I'm more advanced, I will change the whole setup, but at the moment, I don't want to touch it. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is turn on the battery power. So we are running on battery. Now, since we're on battery, we're going to do some checks, okay? Now, let me just add this. If you want a plane, you can kick the tires, light the fires, jump up and fly from A to B quickly. Just use the 737 MAX, okay? It's available in the marketplace. It's a beautiful looking plane. That'll get you from A to B. You can just get in and fly anywhere you want. With this one, a study level plane, you can get in and fly easily, but you need to do some procedures, okay? And since I've been learning it and studying it and getting it done, it really is worth it. It just adds value and adds fun to the whole thing once you start learning some procedures. But it is not just a jump in and fly in 5 minutes, okay? There are certain procedures we have to do. Okay, so I've turned the battery on there. Now, of course, we can do some checks, okay? We can start doing our checks. There's a lights test here we can do. Turn on our lights, check our lights. Okay, so everything's good with our lights. We can come down here, we can do our fire test. Okay, all lights on, okay. Now, there is a lot more to this test. We're going to test the actual system, the fire alarm system. This doesn't check the lights and the bells. This one here actually tests the alarm system. All the things that you can't see, okay? That's what that checks. Lights are on, so that's okay. That's good. Now, there's another lights test we need to do. This one here, which is the nose wheel overheating system. Okay, this is the nose wheel overheating light alarm system in here, and you can't do that till you have AC power. At the moment we're running on DC power. We need AC power to do those checks. Now, hear that? You bring your throttle all the way to the top. You hear the beep, beep, beep. That's what I do for my throttle check. Okay. Right, ground power is available. We need to get onto ground power fairly smartly so that we don't start losing our battery. It will go dead, of course. So we go to FS Actions, go up here, Ground Services, and Request Power. We'll click on that one. And it's connecting. It's not connected straight away. You've got to wait for a while. until they can come over and plug in all the power cords and get everything set up properly and get you plugged in. So that's going to take a little while. It doesn't happen immediately. So that's done. Now it says release. If you click it, it will release it. So it's now connected. We're now connected to ground power. Once we're connected to ground power, we need to turn it on. So we come up here and we turn on the ground power. Okay. We now have ground power, but we still don't have. We still have DC power, but no AC power. So we can't do those other tests until we're actually running on our own power, which will be the APU. Okay, so now we're running on ground power. We can spend a little bit of time doing all the other stuff that we need to do. We're not going to worry about flattening our battery and things like that. Okay. So the next lot of workload that we have to do, and this takes a while. Now you can always stop the video or play it back or whatever. If I'm going a bit too fast, but I'll try not to go too fast. It probably will be slow because I'm a bit of a dummy. I've got to think about things as I actually go. Okay, so we're still on this screen here, so we need to go back to menu. Going to go back to FMC. Now the first thing we need to do is set our position in the world, so the satellites and the radars and everybody knows where the plane actually is positioned in it. Next page. Okay, we click on one of these and we go back. Now normally there's a place here to put it in. For some reason it's not there. Where is it? Okay, let's put our reference in there then. Our reference is Ksfo. Ksfo. Oh, we got to get rid of that first. Got to get rid of that. Okay, so we put Ksfo. Let's go in our reference airport to say where we are. Now we need to get our IRS working, because it can take up to 10 minutes to 20 minutes, whatever, however you've got it actually set. I think this is set to instant. But if you go into the settings in the FMC, not today, we're going to do that, but you go in there, you can change it to realistic, so it'll take quite a long time to actually line up. Now we've got this line here of blank squares. That's where we need to put our position. Okay, so we go to next page, click on one of those coordinates there, previous page, and we'll click it into where these little square circles are, and that's in. Okay, so that's good. Now you can see we've got a map because our alignment is actually turned on and working. Before that, you will not have a map on your display here. Now whenever you see those square little arrows, those square little zeros in a line, you know you've got to fill them in. Okay, you've got to put it in. Okay, so now we can go to route. Now we've got to put our origin in yet again. So Ksfo, we put that in origin. We're going to San Diego, our home base. KSAN, put that in there. Flight number, just put something in there that you can think of for the stage. I'm going to put jet in 108, okay, but you put anything you want in there. Okay, that's it. Now we can go to departure and arrivals. We're going to depart Ksfo, so we'll click on that and we're going to choose runway 01 left. Now I don't know if that's the runway I'm going to take off from or not, to be honest, but I'm just putting that one in there. I'll take off at the closest runway to me because I'm lazy and I'm simple and I'm basic and I don't know very much, and I think it should work out okay. Now these are the SIDs that you climb out towards when you first take off. Now if I click on this, it will choose that SID or this one, but in the past when I've done that, my plane takes off towards this SID, and to be honest, I don't know where I'm going. It takes off. I thought I was going to China at one stage. They may take you all over the place unless you know exactly where these are. Okay, don't click on them. So I just leave it off for now. When I have more education and I'm more smart and clever, I will choose one to climb out towards. But at the moment, I don't need it. Let's go to depart and arrive again. We go to Ksfo arrival, and we're going to arrive at 09. ILSY 09. Okay, so that's where we're going to land. Now, it hasn't asked us to activate yet. Execute. It will tell us when we need to execute, okay? So let's go back to performance in it, okay? This one on the top left corner, okay? Now all these squares we have to fill in, okay? It's pretty daunting for a start. This is basically your fuel and your fuel weight and your reserves. How do you know how much you want? Well, you have put your departure and destination in the computer already. So if you click this one, the 0 fuel weight, it will very cleverly calculate it for you. So I click that one. There we are. It's calculated it down there, 118.1. It's done the calculation for me, so I know how much fuel I want. Now if I click 0 fuel weight again, it will put it in there where it's supposed to be. Job done, okay, for your fuel. Now reserves, how much do you want in reserve? This is in thousands, okay. I'm not sure the correct amount, so I'm just going to click 1 for this video. That's my reserves. Okay, cost index, I'm just going to put 25, okay. Cost index, you know what that's for. You've heard everyone talk about it. That's it's whether your plane's going to run in economy mode or flat out. You know, it takes the costs into consideration when it's climbing and taking off and departing and all that, with regards to fuel usage. You know, if you go faster in the car, you use more fuel and all that. It's like putting your car in economy mode, basically. Okay, so that side's all filled in. Altitude, okay, over to the right hand side. What altitude? I'm going to be cruising at 25,000 feet. I put 25 in there, done. Okay, and that's all the boxes filled in there on that page, performance in it. N1 limit, let's go to the next page. Okay, now that's all filled in. There's no empty boxes, and because of where I am with my experience and knowledge, I'm going to leave that where it is. Let's go to takeoff. Right. Here we go, start up here, flaps, I want flaps 5. Click 5 in there, boom. Come down here, it's got our runway, and it's got some other stuff over here, but that's about it. Oh yeah, our V1, V2, V3. Now you see, because it has all the information we've put in, our fuel weight and stuff, it has actually calculated our speeds for V1 and V2, VR, it's all calculated for us. All we've got to do is put it in this box here. So if we come over opposite, beside it, click the key, it'll automatically put it in for us. Okay, V2, click that one, it automatically switch over for us. And that one, there we are, bang, all our V2 speeds are all programmed in. Okay, that's good. It's still not asking us to execute or whatever. Right, let's go to the next important page. We've done departure and arrival, our legs. Now it's sorted out some waypoints for us. You can see here, go to next page. It's got a list of stuff there we want and what we don't want. It's got some discontinuities here. Sarges, that's a really good waypoint. Sarges, and go to a really good waypoint. If we go to those waypoints, it will line us up beautifully for an ILS approach. So we want to keep those. So let's put Sarges up there. Replace that discontinuity. We've got some other ones here we need to actually get rid of. Let's see if we can get rid of them. I'm not sure if we can. They look like sort of climb out sort of things. I don't know. Okay, here. We've got a couple of waypoints here. I want to get rid of these. Now, see down here, it's asking us to activate. It's got enough information to handle at this stage. Please activate it. So I click on that one, and then I execute down here. Right, all that information we just worked on and put in is now in the FMC, and that's going to put our plan together for our flight path, okay? Let's go back to legs, make sure we've got things right. Sarges, Gato, runway 9, that is beautiful. Now these waypoints here, or whatever they are, stars maybe, it wants us to travel to them. Now if it's after runway 9, I'm thinking maybe it's a missed approach. If you do a missed approach, you head off to these waypoints here. I'm not sure. However, it's after we arrive at runway 09, so who cares? We'll be landing and stopping at runway 9. So let's come up here and let's just have a look at our flight plan here, make sure it's something that we are happy with. Okay, so you can see the magenta line, that is our waypoint. Now see this line down here, that is, we come down to San Diego, turn to the left, bang, straight into the runway. I think that's what we are looking at. I may be wrong, okay? Feel free to make your comments down below. You're looking at a real dummy here, guys. This is how a dummy flies a study level plane. Does it very, very simply. Ah, yes, see that? There's the runway. So these last waypoints will bring us around beautifully to line up with our runway. That will be beautiful. Whoops, I need to keep this on plan. If I can get the pointer in the right place. It's a bit of a job sometimes getting the pointer in the right place, isn't it? There we go, there's our plan. Okay, we can zoom out here. We zoom out. Okay, zoom out. Okay. Right, so down here, we've got that on plan. Got that on plan. Sometimes a thing comes up on the FMC saying steps. We can go through our stages of our flight plan. But I think that's going to be okay. I think that will do us. So we're coming straight down. There's no waypoints between Sarges and Gato. So we've only basically got 2 waypoints. We're going to take off, head to these waypoints, turn around and land. Okay, that is basic and about as simple as you could possibly get. Okay, we've hit execute, so we've done all that, and you can see the flight plan is actually in there, so that is good. Now if we're going to do an ILS approach, we need to do something with the radio, don't we? So let's come down here to the radio. We've got to put the ILS frequency in, runway 09, which is 11190. So I'll do that, take that round, 11190, and I'll switch that over to the active. I'll do the same on the right hand side, 11190. Now I'm not sure if you have to do both of them, to be honest. Let me know in the comments, but I do it anyway just to make sure I've got things right. Something else we have to do down here, you can't see it from this view, which makes it a little bit difficult. I've got to sort of spin my camera around a bit. Still can't see it. Okay, I'll try going to another view up here. Now I'll spin my camera around. See this here, this little switch? See if I can get it in the switch. Standby. You've got to turn that all the way around to the right. Okay, it's all the way around to the right. TARA, it says. Okay, so you've got to turn it. It's a test of some sort. I just heard a voice, so I just know you need to do that. Okay, now while we're down here, we could do that other test that we couldn't do before because we didn't have. No, that's right. We need our APU on before we do that last test there. Okay, so our radio is all set. We need to put the heading of the runway into our course. Okay, so let's come up here. The heading is 93, so we're going to put that into our course. If you've never done anything like this before, I would suggest that you follow my flight plan and everything exactly how I'm doing it, and then if it gives you a bit of idea, you get a better education, you know more, then you can run off and do the other things, or set up your own courses, do your own setups, your own flight plans. Okay, so I'll put that one round to 92. You've got to do both sides apparently. What did I say? 93 on both sides. So we've got our radio set, and we've got our the heading of the runway and our course display. So we should be all good. We should be all good to go. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is just go through some checks here. Make sure our strobe light is on steady. All other switches, everything look exactly where they are when I spawned into the game, so I won't touch this. Right, we're going to turn on our APU, switch over from ground power to running on our own APU power. So we'll flick on a fuel pump, and we'll turn on the APU down here. Flick that down. That'll take some time to fire up. Once we're running on APU power, we'll go through some other checks and prepare ourselves and get ready for pushback and engine start. Now, I may have forgotten something, you know. If I have, let me know in the comments so that I can learn something and the people who watch this video can learn something. Because us dummies are just getting started. We want to get up and flying, but we know we need to learn a bit more when it comes to procedures and these kind of things. So help us out if you can, that'd be great. The also thing to remember is that different companies or airlines, their startups and their checklists are all different. All different companies and airlines checklists all vary from place. I guess the basics are all the same, but their procedures for the checklists and things can vary from airline to airline. Okay, we've got that light on now, so our APU is available. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch from ground power to APU power. So all we do is turn on our APU bus there and there. Okay, that turns on our APU bus. Now if we switch off our ground power up here, nothing will actually happen. We need to come down here, go to menu, FS actions, ground services, and we can now release our ground power. Okay, it'll take a while. It'll take a while just to release. Right, we can switch it off up here because we've already told them down there that we want it released. We want the ground power released. So our APU is running. We can turn on our APU bleed. And we can also check outside as well. Oh yes, you can see the hot fumes and everything from the engine of the APU. All the fumes and exhaust coming out the back there. So that is good. Let's have a look, see if our power is disconnected. Has he disconnected the power? No, power is not disconnected yet. Now the other thing we can do is get our master control panel here where our autopilot is set up for departure 2. I want to climb out at eventually climb out at 250 knots. We're going to go to 10,000 feet initially, and then we'll change after that and climb up after that. Also want to have our flaps at level 5. So remember, we put that into the FMC. Let's bring our flaps down to 5. And also we're going to bring our trim down as well. I'm going to bring my trim down to about 5.8, something around about there. We've got quite a long trip today, remember? All the way to San Diego, which means our fuel is probably quite heavy. Okay, it calculated our fuel for us, but there's probably a lot of fuel there. So we'll need a little bit more flaps to get off the runway, I believe. Right, so we're running on our APU. Everything is good. We will go ahead soon and start our engines, but I think we are ready. We'll put our taxi lights on, anti-collision lights on. We're going to put our yaw damper on. I'm not going to put my packs and anti-oil ice on until I actually get power from the engines. I will turn on the emergency lighting. Give that a little bit. Not that much. Okay. Right. And I'm going to get ready for engine start. I'm going to turn on all the fuel and make sure the isolation valve is open. It is open. So let's go ahead and get pushback. Now you can go in here. Let's see, that thing still hasn't released. It is a bit weird what it's doing there. Never mind. Let's go to main menu, flight sim actions, ground services, request, ground power type. It doesn't say anything about pushback there. Next page. Portable water, lavatory request, so we can get our lavatory cleaned. Fuel tank truck, okay, all that kind of thing there. Steers request, passenger bus request, return, cabin. Oh, there's a lot of stuff there. I haven't looked at all this, guys. I really haven't looked at everything in there. Now if you're stuck and you get lost as far as pushback, just hit Shift P, okay? Hit Shift P, you see the tug starting to move there. That will get pushback going until we figure out all the other technical stuff, okay? We'll work on it eventually, eh? And don't forget, you'll need to set the brake to off. And we should be okay. Now, a couple of things to remember. There will be a line behind us. You can see this line running down the airport road here, the little road where the service trucks run. That little yellow line, it's got a little dotted yellow line behind it. Very important that you know where that is, because you are not allowed to start your engines until you get past that line. Okay, now we need to come into the FMC again. FS Actions, Ground Services, and remove our chocks. Okay. If you remove your chocks, the air steers will disappear. It says invalid entry. I don't know what's going on there. Let's clear that. Okay. Remove chock. Oh, okay. So there was some things entered in the scratch pad there. Just make sure you clear all that before you click on other instructions. Okay, so that's cleared that up. Okay, so we're on pushback now, and we're going to be looking for that yellow line back there. See you, mate. Oh, sorry about that. It was a bit close. Because we are not allowed to start our engines until we get back past there, that dotted yellow line. See? That's when we start our engines. A little way to go. It's probably closer over this side. Okay, I'm going to get ready to start my engines now. I hit Shift P to stop the pushback. I'll hit B to put my brakes on. Okay, so that's all good. Okay, right, we're going to start our engines. We've got the fuel on, isolation valve open. The right engine, I'll click round to ground. And we're going to wait for these numbers to come up to around 22, 24, and we will add fuel to the engine. I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm making this up as I go, guys, but really I've only just learned all this stuff myself. Okay, I'm not a pilot or a big time flight simmer professional. I'm learning this as I go, basically. I've had a hell of a job to get this far. It's taken hours and hours and hours of work. So if this helps someone else in some small way, it would be brilliant. Now eventually this will click round to the middle, which means our engine's up and running and looking sweet. Let's just check that. Yep, we have one beautiful engine start there. That is good. Okay, that's clicked round to the middle, so we can start the left engine. Now you can use the switch here, switch to the right or switch to the left or in the middle. It just looks after both engines. Okay. Right, so we've got that round to the left, and that will get rotation going on our left engine. Beautiful. Now while we're out here, we can check our control surfaces, of course. Something I always like to do. My ailerons and my rudders. Okay. Speed brakes. Yep. My reverse thrusters are not working for some reason. I have to. That's another day's work figuring all that out, I think. Okay, so let's go up here. Okay, got to go down here and add fuel to the left engine. Should have been watching that and doing that a lot sooner. But there we go. We are firing up now on both engines. Okay, that is good. Okay, now our trip home to San Diego for our big arrival party, I'm going to do in two parts. This is the first part, the cold and dark startup, programming the flight plan, the FMC. Otherwise, it would be just too long. So this is the first stage. The second stage will be us taking off, cruising, and landing in San Diego. Okay. That will be exciting stuff, guys. Really will. Okay, so both engines are flicked back to the middle, so they are on. I'm going to switch them round to continuous. Okay. Engine bleeds are on, so check that. Now we're going to switch from APU power over to engine power. So we're going to turn on the engine bus power. Okay, we'll turn on the engine bus, that one and that one, and the APU bus automatically turns off. You see the light come on here. So we're now running on engine power and not our APU. So we can actually turn our APU off. And we can turn off our APU bleed. Now, let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. Let's turn on our packs. So we get our air conditioning moving through the cabin. Turn those on to auto. We're going to come up here, turn on our window ice, our window heat, our heat probes. We'll turn those on. Taxi light is on, that is good. Fasten seat belts, okay, that's all good. So I think we are ready to taxi to the active runway. We're not going to go through all the air traffic control, the ATIS and all that sort of stuff today, because this is just to get us up and flying. Very, very basic. Okay, that's all it is. Right, so let's do our pre-taxi check. We'll check, we've got the runway heading set into our course, both sides. Our climb out speed 250, we're going to cruise at 10,000 feet initially. Okay, so that's all good. We've done our lights test, that's all good. We got our flaps down 5, okay. Our brakes, auto brakes, we will set on RTO for rejected takeoff. Right, flaps down 5. We've got our trim set to 5.9 or 5.8, something like that. Around about there. Now up here we've got all fuel pumps on, taxi lights on, strobe lights, anti-collision lights, yaw damper on, engine bleeds on, engine generators on. I'm not sure about these two, whether I should be turning these on or not. Let me know in the comments, please. I still have a lot to learn. I would like to know. But engine generators are on. Our packs are on auto. Window heaters on. Also, one more thing, one more test we didn't do is up here with our stall warning. We've got to test those, and of course, no, that's our overspeed warning, and of course we test these. These are our speed, these are our stall warnings, okay? The clacking. Stall warnings are good, and the speed warnings are all good. Right, let's see if this thing gets off the ground. I'm learning, guys, so no guarantees. I've just done my best here to show you how I do it, and fingers crossed that it actually works today. Right, so let's head to the active runway. A little bit of throttle, brakes off, and use our rudder for the nose wheel steering. Where are we going here? Have I got lost or something? I went a bit fast there, guys. A little bit fast there. Right, so we're going to pull up here at the hold short, and that will be our video for today, the first stage of getting home to San Diego. Okay, that's the first stage of getting home to San Diego, our cold and dark startup, and getting our flight plan and everything set up in the FMC. So our next stage, next video I'm going to put on here will be our departure and our ILS approach and landing at San Diego. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I hope it is helpful in some way. I know it is probably not right and 100% correct, but if it helps you get up and flying and enjoying this beautiful plane, that is good. We are learning together. I will learn and improve as I go. and I'm more than happy to show you as I learn things so that we can grow together. And you know, all of us will be experts by the end of the year. All right. Take care, guys. I'll see you on the next video. Leave a comment below. Don't abuse me, okay? I'm only learning here. I'll see you soon. Cheers.